Right. We have over 8,000 volunteers and more every day who are working with us on a plan to make sure that everyone who has an opportunity to vote uses that opportunity, and we want to make sure that they know what the choices are before them. Jim Murray and I have been making choices over the last few years to invest in job creation, in education, and in health care.
Right.
Because, as you know, that's what we believe, and I think what most people believe is the way to make a better and stronger Commonwealth. And we've been getting great results, first in the nation in job creation and in student achievement and in health care coverage for our residents. But we've got a lot more we want to do, and that's why we need a second term.
Yeah, that's is my question. The first question that I want to ask you, Governor. You have 4 years ahead of you. What would you do in this 4 years that you couldn't do yet? You didn't have time to do, or something happened. What you think that you really want to do in the next 4 years?
Well, Eloisa, with the economy being as bad as it is, the fact that we're getting this extraordinary job growth in 2010 is very hopeful news. But we still have a lot of people out of work, and we want to keep that going until everybody who's looking for work is able to find it. So that's the first thing. Secondly, we have some new tools to close the achievement gap in our schools. And the kids who are stuck in that gap tend to be poor, or children who speak English as a second language, or who have special needs, more often than not children of color. We've got some new tools because we passed a very important piece of legislation. But we need now to use that legislation to actually close that achievement gap, and that we will do in a second term. And then the third central agenda item is to get the cost of health care down so that our health care system is as affordable as it is accessible.
Right. And since you talked about the economy, 70%, we know that 70% of Massachusetts' workforce is made up by immigrants, and then 14% of the population of the state is foreign-born. So the state is very, very diverse. Right?
Yeah.
Also, we have a lot of university and colleges that bring people here from all over the world. So what do you think your government, you as a government, could do to interest these people to stay here, to open up a small business or look for jobs here? We know that the cost of living in Massachusetts is high. But what do you think you could do that these people would get a message that here is the place I want to start my life, my professional life, or I want to be here?
Well, Eloisa, I think that the answer to that is both in policy and in the tone we set. In policy, I think what we've done to encourage small businesses is to try to meet their principal concerns, which have to do with access to capital and the cost of health care. Access to capital is a very big concern. I'm talking about working capital now. It's a very big concern for small businesses because the banks have been so tight with their credit lately. So we created something called the Growth Capital Fund, a $30 million fund to offer loan guarantees and other kinds of supports for small businesses so that they can continue to expand. Healthcare costs is another one. I mentioned that earlier. We've got some great strategies to start to bend that curve in the right direction, including allowing small businesses to join with lots of other small businesses and buy as cooperatives so they can get the same buying power that a big business can get, or that state government gets for that matter, and that's a start. I also think that the New Americans agenda, which we put in place, which is was done very much at a grassroots level over about a year. 130, I think it is, recommendations on things we can do to make a more welcoming environment for newcomers, particularly immigrants and new Americans.
Right.
We are methodically implementing those.
Right.
But Eloise, I think just in setting the tone is so important that we make sure that people know this is a welcoming community, that this is a welcoming governor, that I respect and value the variety of people and cultures represented in our population here. And I guess I'd also say this, at a time when there's so much scapegoating going on around immigrants, I'm very aware that 4 out of 5 of the immigrants here in the Commonwealth are here fully documented and legal, and that as long as I have anything to say about it, we will not have an Arizona-type law here in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
Wow, you just answered my next question, which was about the New American agenda. Very well done. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
Let me ask you, you have 2 daughters, right?
I do.
And are they in college both?
One is in college and one is out. They're 26 and 21.
How do you balance, being the governor, being a husband, being the father of two girls, and we know I have two kids myself. It's so hard to have time for them. Is there some time that you think you wake up in the morning and you think, oh my gosh, I want out?
Well, there's definitely a personal sacrifice that comes with service, with public service. Our oldest daughter is out of the house and living in California now. She was living in New York, but she just moved out there in the spring, and we miss her. But she's launched and on her way. And our younger daughter is in college. She's really out of the house as well, and in her junior year. My wife has a very demanding career of her own, which occupies a lot of her time and attention. And I think we all just look forward to family occasions when we can be together, holidays and birthdays and so forth. And my wife and I, at least when there's not a campaign going on, try to have a regular date night every week so that we can get caught up. But it's part of. I think everybody understands why we're doing this. That this is a way, not just personally, but as a family, we can give back to the Commonwealth for the many, many blessings that we have received here.
Right. You are a good cook. You like to cook.
I love to cook. I love all sorts of food.
Yeah. And you're writing your memoir.
I am.
So are those activities kind of a therapy for you when you're really tired and you want to get out of your mind to something else?
That's exactly right. Time to, cook for others in particular is a great way for me to relax and to have something else to think about than policy and lawmaking and some of the challenges before us. And also just the work in the writing. Much of it I've written over the years before, and this is really about organizing it in a way that can be shared with others. There are a few lessons here that may be of value to other people, and so I'm just trying to pass those on.
Going back to your government, your 4 years, previous 4 years, the 3 years and almost 4, is there anything that you want to do that you couldn't do, that you miss not doing, that you couldn't achieve yet?
Well, we had 10 objectives, I think they were, and we accomplished 8 of them. But there are 2 that I still want to turn to in a second term. I very much believe in community policing as a public safety strategy, meaning police who are out on the streets and walking or riding bikes and building relationships with the community, both as a way to prevent crime and to solve it better. And we were hoping to be able to support 1,000 new police officers across the Commonwealth in community policing settings. It's one of the initiatives that we had to cut in state government. Property tax relief is another one that where we put a lot of tools in place for communities, local communities, to manage their costs and raise revenue independent of local aid so that they can take pressure off the property tax. But there's more I want to do there because that's a real need people have, particularly if you're out of work or if you're a senior and on a fixed income.
So what are your top priorities for the state? I know you mentioned the economy, you mentioned education, I know health is a concern. How do you prioritize those or others?
Well, those are, those are the ones, Eloisa, they are, because they transcend everything else. If we don't have growth in the economy and more opportunities, then everything else we want to do is up for grabs. So we need an expanding job base at all levels, in the highly trained, in the semi-skilled, and the unskilled level. We need, and that has implications for a whole number of things. It has implications for what we invest and how we invest in our infrastructure and in education, because that's what encourages new businesses to want to grow and expand here, to establish themselves and expand here. I think education is transformative. It's what made it possible for me, having grown up in poverty in Chicago, to have the kinds of opportunities I've had. And I want to make sure that other young people get those opportunities. It's the way forward in this country and has been for a couple of generations now, and I want to make sure that's secure. And then I believe health is a public good. And so what we've done with this extraordinary healthcare reform initiative reaching 98% of our residents is very, very exciting, but it still costs too much. So we need to get those costs down. And it's not going to be simple. It's very complicated, but we shouldn't be defeated by that complexity, I guess I'd say.
Right. Governor, are you happy with the yesterday rally?
Oh, it was beautiful. I don't know if you were out there, but it was...
I was.
We had a room that accommodated, I think, about 7,000 people, and 21 or 22,000 people showed up.
Mm-hmm.
So we had overflow space and thousands of people outside watching it on the Jumbotron, and it was really, really exciting and humbling to have the President of the United States there, and so generous in his comments and his support, and to have so many people come out and really encourage our cause.
Yeah, I took the bus from Jamaica Plain, where I live, to the Heinz Convention, and I didn't realize that everybody on the bus was going to the Heinz, only when the bus stopped by the Copley, because he couldn't turn to the left because it was blocked. And so many black ladies drop off the bus, and they all cross the street to go into the mall and in the Heinz Convention, and they were so excited, and I thought that was beautiful.
It was a beautiful, beautiful thing, and a great lift, I think, for everybody. And we just have to keep building on that because we have a lot of important work to do. The other candidates really are offering policies that are stuck in the past, and they want to go back. And what we would go back to is a politics that's all about the insider game and people looking after their friends, and not the kind of governing for the greater good that Tim Murray and I have tried to be about. And so I think if we are about the courage of our convictions, then it's worth this fight, and we have a fight on our hands, and I'm looking forward to it. We've got 2.5 weeks now, and a lot of work to do, and I hope all your listeners will come out and help.
Yeah, that was indeed my last question to you. To the people of Massachusetts, Brazilians who are listening to you, and they might be thinking, why would I bother to vote? It's just midterm election. What would you say to these people?
I would say that, I'm a believer that we get the government we deserve. And if you sit this out, if you say it doesn't matter, I'll just turn out the next time that a president is up for election and not when the governor is up for election, then what you will get here are policies like we had for 16 years before I came to office, where we kicked the hard issues down the road so that our children and our grandchildren would have to deal with them. We starved our infrastructure, our roads and rails and bridges from investment. We're going to see cuts in our public schools. We're going to see an abandonment of our health care reform, and because the other side doesn't have a plan. All they have is critique. We are about moving forward, and we're only going to be able to do that if we have another term to finish what we started, and to have another term requires that people talk to their friends and family and co-workers and neighbors and come out themselves to vote and get others to vote for the Patrick Murray ticket. Come take some time off on Election Day if you can to help us with the get out the vote strategy. But above all, making sure that every one of us and everyone we know is getting out to vote and to vote for the Patrick Murray ticket. We've got a lot of work to do, but we will do it together, and we will lift this Commonwealth together. Okay.
Well, Governor, thank you very much for your time. I know you have a very busy schedule, and we appreciate that you took the time to talk to our community on a Sunday afternoon. And this mic is always open to you if you have a message for our people.
Thank you so much, Eloisa, and you know that my door is always open to you and to members of the community as well.
Thank you, Governor. Have a good day.
And you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.